Increasingly, we expect computers to be able to use AI to understand natural language commands, either spoken or typed. For example, you might want a home automation system to control devices in your home by using voice commands such as switch on the light or put the fan on. AI powered devices can understand these commands and take appropriate action. In this exercise, we'll use Language Studio to create and test a project that sends instructions to devices such as lights or fans. We'll use the capabilities of the Conversational Language Understanding Service, but don't worry if this seems a little complicated and abstract right now. It'll all make sense in due time. Want to go beyond just building bots? To get fully knowledgeable about Azure AI, check out my full course linked in the description below. You'll not only build smarter and faster, but also get certified with real-world, job-ready skills. In your browser, open the portal. Sign in with the Microsoft account associated with your Azure subscription. I'm already signed in. Okay, now we'll create a resource. So press the Create a Resource button, search for Language Service. All right. And then please press Create. Okay, now we're taken to a page that says Select Additional Features. Let's keep the default selection and click Continue. Okay, on this page, Create Language, we'll configure it with the following. So for the subscription, please do your subscription. Mine is Azure for Students, but it depends. For the resource group, I'll be creating a new resource group specifically for the sake of this lab. I'll call it CLU for Conversational Language Understanding. It might be quite an obscure name. If you'd like, you can create a more specific name if you'd like to refer back to this lab. The region, please pick the region that is closest to you. For me, that will be East US. The name, I'll name it Conversational LU. Okay. Pricing tier. So for the pricing tier, please select free FO or S if free F0 is not available. My bad. As I do not have free FO available to me, I'll be selecting S, which has 1K calls per minute. Okay, press review and create. Oh, I forgot to check the box. Okay, perfect. We'll create and wait for the deployment to complete like always. It's initializing, submitting. Okay, now that our deployment is complete, we'll move on. To implement natural language understanding with conversational language understanding, we'll create an app and then add entities, intents, and utterances to define the commands we want the app to execute. This was covered in our last lesson, so please get familiar with that if you're not already. In a new browser tab, open language.azure.com. Okay, sign in with the Microsoft account associated with your Azure subscription. So if you are prompted to choose a language resource, like me, let's select the following settings. Azure Directory will be the Azure directory that is associated with your subscription. Mine is my schools. For Azure subscription, it will be your Azure subscription, and the language resource will be the one that we have just made. Resource type will be language. Okay, press done. Great. Now, if you are not prompted to choose a language resource, it may be because you have multiple language resources in your subscription. If that's the case, on the bar at the top of the page, please select Settings. On Settings, view the Resources tab. Great. Select the language resource that you have just made and select Switch Resource. As this situation isn't applicable to me, it wouldn't work, but if it is, please select Switch, and then please return back home when you're done. Okay, so at the top of the portal, in the Create New menu, select Conversational Language Understanding. Great. So in the Create a Project dialog box, on the Enter Basic Information page, please enter the following details. The name, let's create a unique name. So mine will be Conversational, I'll just name it Getting Familiar with CLU, Getting Familiar as that's the point of this lab. Okay, for utterances primary language, please select English. For enable multiple languages in project, do not select this box. And for description, type in simple home automation. Great, press next. Also, please make a note of your project name. We will be using it later. Let me just copy that for myself. Okay, press create. Awesome. Now we'll create intents, utterances, and entities. An intent is an action you want to perform. For example, you might want to switch on a light or turn off a fan. In this case, we'll define two intents, one to switch on a device and another to switch off a device. For each intent, you'll specify sample utterances that indicate the kind of language used to indicate the intent. So, on the schema definition page, where we are at right now, please ensure that intent is selected, and then please click Add. So for an intent name, it will be switch on. As I have typed it below, please make sure you are typing it in correctly in lowercase and select Add Intent. Great. Now select the switch on intent. This will take you to the data labeling page. In the intent dropdown over here, please select switch on, and next to the switch on intent, type the utterance turn the light on and press enter to submit this. Okay, now that this is submitted to the list, the language service needs at least 5 different utterance examples for each intent to sufficiently train the language model. Let's add 5 more utterance examples for the switch on intent. So we can do switch on the fan. Let's do put the fan on, put the light on, switch, typing there, switch the light on, switch on the light, since that's quite similar to turn the light on. Okay, switch on the light. And then we could also do turn the fan on. Alright, so now on the labeling entities for training pane on the right hand side of the screen, please select labels and then select add entity. Type device in for the entity name, all in lowercase, select list, and then select add entity. Okay, in the turn the fan on utterance over here, please highlight the word fan. In the list that appears in the search for entity box, that's over here, select device. Okay, we're all good so far. Let's do the same for all utterances. Label the rest of the fan or light utterances with the device entity. When you're finished, verify you have the following utterances. So let's do that. I'll explain what comes next after we're done. Highlighting. Okay, device. Just the same process for each and every. Selecting. Okay. So for the intent switch on and the utterance put the fan on, the entity should be device select fan, which means that when we hover over fan, device should show up. And let's check the others. So for put on the light, my bad, put the light on, it should be device for light For switch on the light over here, it should be device for light. For turn the fan on, it should be device for fan. And for switch on the fan, it should be device for fan. And for turn the light on, it should also be device for light. Okay, now we'll save these changes. Okay, on the pane on the left, select schema definition. And let's verify that our switch on intent is listed, which it is right over here. Then we'll select add and add a new intent with the name switch off, which is all lowercase. Okay, great. So now select the switch off intent. It will again take us to a data labeling page like the switch on intent. In the intent dropdown, please select switch off. Make sure you're selecting the correct one. They look quite similar. Add the utterance, turn the light off. Okay, now just like we did for the other one, we'll add 5 more utterance examples to this intent. We could do something like switch off the fan, put the fan off, put the light off, turn off the light, and switch the fan off. Okay, now again, we'll label the words light or fan with the device entity like we did in our previous example. Kind of just follow the steps that we've already done, but for this one. Great. Now that you're finished, verify you have the following utterances. So for switch off the fan, you should have fan and then device underneath. For switch the fan off, device underneath fan. For turn off the light, device underneath light. For put the light off, device underneath light. And put the fan off, device underneath fan. Great, now that we're all done, we'll save. Okay, the measure part is over. Now we'll train the model. So we're ready to use the entities and intents that we have defined to train the conversational language model for our app. On the left-hand side of the Language Studio, please select Training Jobs. Select Start a Training Job. Okay, we'll use the following settings. So for train a new model, we'll select a model name. So what should we name our model? I'll name it Home Appliances, as that's basically similar to the data labeling tab that we have just worked on. And then for training mode, please select Standard Training, which is free. For data splitting, select Automatically Split the testing set from training data and keep default percentages that are given to us, so that's 80% for training and 20% for testing. Okay, select Train at the bottom of the page. We'll wait for the training to complete. This might take a while. You can see the progress under the bell icon. Now that training is complete, we'll use our trained model in a client application. For that, we must deploy it as an endpoint to which the client applications can send new utterances, and which entities and intents can be predicted from. So on the left-hand side of our Language Studio, please select Deploying Model. Great. Deployment. Okay, so here on the Create or Select an Existing Deployment Name, we'll select Create a New Deployment Name, and we'll add a unique name. Let's say Deploy Home Appliances. Okay. So next, for assign train model to your deployment name, select the name of the train model that we just made, and deployment regions should just stay the same as your previous region. Press deploy. Also note your deployment name, as we will be using it later. Okay, so when the model is deployed, as it's showing over here, let's select Testing Deployments and select our deployment name. Great. So next we'll enter the following text. Okay, and then we'll run it. Okay, so let's review the result that is returned. We can see that it includes the predicted intent, which should be switch on over here, and then the predicted entity, device, with confidence scores that indicate the probability the model calculated for the predicted intent and entity. The JSON tab shows the comparative confidence for each potential intent. The one with the highest confidence score is the predicted intent. Kind of cool, huh? Okay, now we'll clear the text box and test the model with the following utterances under enter your own text. So turn off the fan. Okay, gives us a similar result. Next we'll do put the light on. Again. And our last one will be put the fan off. Okay, that's wonderful. So now you can see that we have successfully configured a conversational language project and defined entities, intents, and utterances. You have seen how to train and deploy a model in the Language Studio, and you have tried it out with both utterances you defined and some that you did not explicitly define, but the model was able to determine. So we should remember that conversational language understanding provides the intelligence to interpret the intention of the input and doesn't perform any actions such as turning on the light or the fan. A developer would need to build an application that uses the CLU model to determine the user's intent and then automate the appropriate action. So the only thing that's left to do is clean up. If you don't intend to do any more exercises, deleting any resources that we no longer need, let's go back to the portal, avoids accruing unnecessary costs. So let's select the resource group that we have just created. Okay, and select the resource. Next we'll select delete and confirm. It's deleting over here. You can also see the progress under the bell. It's been deleted. This marks the end of our exercise, and my full AI 900 course is now on discount with the code linked in the description below. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.